I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today we're talking to Natalie Wilson and Yolanda Kelly about the Shell on Wheels, and all the work that goes on over at the Shell. So stay with us for a conversation with Yolanda and Natalie. And a special thanks to our sponsor, Youth Villages. Natalie, welcome back. Thanks for being here.
Welcome. Thank you for letting me be here.
Absolutely. And Yolanda, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So where do you want to start? I mean, I guess most immediately, the summer season has started, right? You're
Yes.
a few weeks into it. And how's it go? What do you want to highlight about the summer season goes through what?
The end of June.
End of June. Okay.
Yes, we're opening our fourth weekend this weekend.
Okay.
And so it's been a challenging year with the spring weather, and
Okay.
the Shell is so acclimated to weather. When it's weather, if there's inclement weather, we just can't always show our magic and bring people together when there's weather. And so that has been a challenge, but it's been an incredible year already, seeing so many new faces, new communities coming to the Shell, new partnerships that we've developed. And that's what we're about, is building community through the performing arts. And it's through these people that we get to meet that make the magic at the Shell.
Right. And Yolanda, how long is it? 3 years? Is that what I saw? So your role in this? Well, what your take on the beginning of the summer series? Like, what stands out to you, and what are you looking forward to in the coming month?
It's been great. We had Trombone Shorty last weekend, and the crowd was packed. I don't think none of us expected the crowd to be as big as it was. So it definitely shows our growth.
Yeah.
And it shows in the 3 years I've been here, we've definitely grown with our programming and the people we see on the line. So looking forward to the rest of the summer season.
Yeah. Where, for you, Natalie, I mean, we're 4 years, I'm obsessed with this for a variety of reasons, of being basically 4 years from COVID and 5 years from deep COVID. And I remember you took the job right before that. And we talked a number of times by Zoom about what you could do and getting people out. And so again, still, when you look at people coming back, is that a change? Is that partly COVID and people's patterns? Is it partly different lineups? How much is it related to COVID?
I think COVID changed our world, and COVID absolutely changed the landscape of the entertainment industry. People are very slowly coming back as we were in 2019. I mean, even today, and 5 years later, we're still seeing people resident to come into when there's big packed shows. And we're always thinking through, how do we make it more sanitary? How do we up our cleaning protocols? How do we think through supporting different needs of our people coming to the Shell, partners, sponsors, and just families coming? It is just a different world.
Yeah.
And so we are really evolving with that. We're evolving with the standards we create, such as our new standard. We are the first certified green venue in West Tennessee with Project Green Fork. Very first.
Yeah.
We're thinking through everything that is a detail that supports the comfort and the quality of the programming to bring more people, ensure that we can be a place that people feel safe and comfortable.
Same question to you, Yolanda. I mean, you started after COVID, but again, this hangover effect of that and changes maybe in the lineups, or changes maybe in the whole dynamic of outdoor and indoor music. Like, what do you see in terms of new people, like you were just saying?
Just being out in the community and talking to so many people about the Shell, I was shocked at how many people didn't even know about the Shell and what we did. So I can definitely see, from a community outreach standpoint, the more we go out into communities, the more they come back to the Shell, and that definitely shows the growth that we see on the line.
And that segues to Shell on Wheels. For people who don't know, what is Shell on Wheels?
So Shell on Wheels was created 3 years ago to take the Overton Park Shell experience directly to neighborhoods. We are able to create the Overton Park Shell experience by working with nonprofits and existing events and organizations and things that already exist in the city. And we kind of come in as a support to support their events, to support their mission through our mission. The cornerstone piece of Shell on Wheels is the stage. It's a half-scale replica of the main stage. It allows us to have a fully turnkey performing arts experience. So it has the sound, light, power, all integrated inside of it. We can basically go to any community, any neighborhood, pretty much any place, and pop up the stage and have some free performing arts.
And so do you all schedule that, or you're rented? It's kind of all of the above in terms of how Shell on Wheels happens?
Yeah, we really wanted this program to be an ability to make it accessible to everyone. And so at the same time, supporting the mission of sustaining it, making it sustainable. most of what the Overton Park Shell does is free. And what we wanted to do in changing economic times is that we could not only ensure that our mission could go to every community, but also provide an economic driver that can sustain our nonprofit during changing times with more earned revenue.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
Shell on Wheels, the mobile shell can be rented, or it makes it accessible for free to a community that doesn't have a budget and needs us to come and support their great work.
Do you see people who I mean, I don't know if you have data or you just anecdotally, people who've gone to an event with the Shell on Wheels who then come to the main Shell in Overton Park? I mean, is that a dynamic that you hope for and that you see happen?
Definitely. I see a lot of people at Shell on Wheels events, and then they'll find me at the main stage, and they'll say, "Oh, it's so good to see you, and I saw this shell for the first time in my neighborhood, and I can come here and see it too." So I definitely see that a lot.
That must be kind of a great it's
feeling.
working. You're
Yes.
like bringing the whole thing in. And again, we're here with Yolanda Kelly and Natalie Wilson here from the Shell and Shell on Wheels. You'll go through June, take a break because it gets so dang hot, basically.
Yes. And this is a fun fact.
Yeah.
The Shell, during the heat of the summer, the concrete gets 140 degrees. We actually monitor that. It can get up
in like the bottom, in the kind of
in the concrete.
In the concrete in front of the stage, between the lawn and the stage.
And we just believe that the comfort for our artists and our production, we can't take it into mid-August anymore to be the best level of support to our people.
Is that when it went? Because I can remember being
it
really
being in July.
hot. Yeah.
And I just decided after watching our production team and artists really struggle that we didn't need to do that. We needed to cut it off in June.
Yeah. So you'll start back up when?
In August, end of August.
End of August and go through.
We're actually going to go a little later this year through the third week of October.
Yeah.
Because we want to be a good complement to Zubu and the Memphis Zoo events. So it's hard to conflict having our concerts as well as Zubu, but we are going a little later this year.
I do think that's the best time. I mean, spring and fall are the best time of year here. It's not like some other places where where I grew up, it was just rain and horrible in the spring and fall. Here, it's nice, it's beautiful. It's manageable. Everything about it is good. So I'm glad. That's good to hear. You mentioned the zoo. I had Matt Thompson, CEO of the zoo, on Behind the Headlines, the show we do over on WKNO, I think last week it was. Yeah, it was last week. And they've got a ton going on. And there's always a ton going on over in Park. I mean, the park itself has got a master plan that it's beginning to look at all these things. There's shifting around of green space. The metal museum is moving towards, completion. Brooks is moving out eventually. Your take, just in the 5 years, 6 years you've been running the Shell organization, all this change is good or
it's
going in the right direction?
I think it's going in the direction of what I call One Park, which is a unified approach to the visitor experience. It's like we are one partnership. We may be separate nonprofits, but we are one to ensure that it is a vibrant, wonderful visitor experience every single day, 365 days a year, and that we're logistically working together, that we're thinking about shared programming. We're even looking at our master plans to say, how can we work together like the Metal Museum and the Overton Park Shell and the way we're going to unify? I mean, it is an opportunity for us to not be cannibalizing each other, not be segregated, but to be one and think of ourselves in that way. We are Memphis's true Central Park. So why not operate in that way and support each other?
Back when I was on the board of the Overton Park Conservancy, so the Greensward and the other part, the Old Forest and so on, I would get people who really, and that was when the whole fight over the Greensward parking and the zoo and all that got just real ugly. People didn't understand, and it's totally understandable, they didn't know that actually there were, whatever it is, 5 or 6 different entities, in that park. The city has the golf course, and at the time the College of Art was separate, and the Brooks is separate, and the zoo is separate, and the Shell is separate, and that was confusing to people.
Right.
And I think the zoo fight with Overton Park and the Greensward maybe highlighted in an ugly way, but ultimately kind of set the stage for more of this, right? And our friend Tina Sullivan, who was the executive director of the Overton Park Conservancy for many, many years and just retired, a year plus ago, that was always a mission of hers. Like, we got to work together as entities. I think she was the one who started, what if we met every week?
Exactly.
Even in the height of the arguments over the Greensward, I mean, she would manage to get people from the zoo and every entity to come and just talk about, we've got this going on, we've got that going on, we're going to bring a bunch of traffic, so you might want to schedule differently, right? I mean, that's
and even having a shared
seems
calendar.
Obvious, but it was not.
No. No, and now we're friends. We're
Yeah.
all friends.
Yes.
We all want each other to succeed. So if someone, so I mentioned Zoo Boo as an event, I want that to be successful for our Memphis Zoo. So we want to not conflict in our programming. When we have a more patriotic event that wants fireworks, we're not going to do fireworks at the Shell to support the animals at the Memphis Zoo. There are just things that we need to do together and think through. Collaboration is power. Collaboration makes us stronger. And from funders' standpoint of our sustainabilities, funders want us to look at each other as one unified group that loves each other, cares, and supports each other, and works together.
And so for you, Yolanda, I mean, being there now 3 years, kind of came after the worst of the ugliness of the fight over the Greensward and all that resolution. We talked again with Matt on Behind the Headlines. People can listen to that or read about it on Daily Memphian if they want. I won't repeat all that, but there's a solution that's slowly but steadily moving forward, and they're hopeful that all of the primary changes will be done by end of the year with some luck. When you talk to people, they don't care about that fight, I bet. I mean, or do they? Are there lingering feelings of, frustration about Greensward parking and different entities and all that sort of stuff?
I think a lot of people don't know about all the things that have happened, like between all the organizations in the park. They just see that, we can go to the zoo, we can go to the Shell, we can go to the Greensward. So it's kind of just a space where everyone can come together. And Natalie mentioned the shared calendar that we have, but also the park partners, we meet every other week, and we've planned and started doing a park-wide summer camp amongst all the organizations in the park. So we work with a nonprofit in the community, and they bring their students one day to all the different areas of the park.
Oh,
so
that's
one day
awesome.
They'll go to the zoo, one day they'll come to the Shell, one day they'll go to the Brooks, and then they'll go to the Greensward to do like some nature journaling and things. So it's just a way for them to be familiar with all the aspects of the park, but also learn about each of us individually as well.
I think you can do that for adults.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I mean, really, it's sort of joke, but it's one of those things that is so obvious. I'm sure some people are going to listen and go, well, duh, that's obvious. But that just was not possible for a long time because of all kinds of factors.
Yeah,
so.
We're still early stages figuring out exactly how it will work, or if we open it up to the whole city, how exactly will we handle it. So it seems like it's common sense to do, and now that we're doing it, it kind of is, like we should be doing this. But figuring out the kinks of it has been fun for all of us to figure out, but also fun for us to do, bring people to the Shell.
Yeah. We're here with Natalie and Yolanda from the Shell on Wheels, all the programming there. Let me take a moment, though, and do some housekeeping. Remind everyone, I'm Eric Barnes, and this is The Sidebar, which airs on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday at 11:30. Focused on the community, arts, culture, everything in between. It's not just a radio show, though. It's one of a number of weekly podcasts we do at the Daily Memphian, including the Memphis Grizzlies podcast with Chris Harrington and Drew Hill, and our food podcast, Soundbites, that is hosted by Holly Whitfield. Soundbites also airs on WYXR every Thursday at 11, right before The Sidebar. We also host the podcast version of Behind the Headlines, the TV show we produce with folks at WKNO every week. And then I mentioned where we just had Matt Thompson. We had some folks from MIFA talking about cuts to aging programs or potential cuts at the federal level and the potential impacts of that locally. All of our podcasts are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get the WYXR shows. That's The Sidebar and Soundbites here at WYXR.org or on the WYXR app. It includes all the shows on WYXR, the talk shows, archives of the music shows, and a great way to keep up with what's happening on WYXR. Support WYXR if you're not already. It's nonprofit, listener-supported radio. You can become a member and get all kinds of benefits. You can do a one-off donation. You can do that online or on the app. And also, if you're not a paid subscriber to the Daily Memphian, do consider becoming one. Paid subscriptions cover about half of the cost of supporting the Daily Memphian, a newsroom of about 38 people, another 10 or 15 people, and the largest newsroom in the region. We are a nonprofit, so if you're a paid subscriber and you also want to do a donation, you can do that as well. All that is at dailymemphian.com. Recently on The Sidebar, we did Olivia Wall from Live at the Garden and walked through their whole season of shows and other things going on over at Memphis Botanic Garden. We had Suna Laybourne talking about Asian American history and Asian American life here in Memphis. It was really a great conversation with her. And Pat Mitchell-Worley from, among other things, Stax, Soulsville. She was on a couple weeks ago talking about all things Stax and music and so on. On Behind the Headlines coming up, we've got Lee Harris and Erica Sugarman coming on. We've got a show about homelessness and some new efforts to address homelessness. And about a month from now, we've got Brent Taylor, state senator, and Mark White, state House of Representatives, talking about schools and their various efforts to sort of create some new structures around the Memphis-Shelby County school system. But we are here with Yolanda Kelly and Natalie Wilson from the Shell. 90 years next summer?
Yes.
For the Shell?
We turn 90 years old September 13th, 2026.
Wow.
Very special year of celebration. It's not going to just be one day. It's going to be an entire year and beyond. That this space was created to be accessible to everyone, make it free, and bring us together. And it's just as relevant in 1936 today as it was at the beginning. It's unbelievable what it does.
Those celebrations, can you preview anything, or is it a top secret?
Yeah, so one thing is really exciting. It's called 90 Voices. We are going to be showcasing the stories and the interviews of 90 incredible people of our history and also our significance today. And these voices will tell stories, tell about their involvement, what it means to them, and where they see the vision for the future. So that is going to be a campaign starts in January, all through the year. And then we are really excited that September 11th through the 13th of next year will be a weekend-long celebration of our 90 years. And it's going to be big. And we are already working on it and what it's going to give. Most of it, as always, most of it will be free.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing a couple of benefit shows, though.
Yes.
How many benefit paid shows do you do a year now?
We do 3 to 4. It depends what we can route into Memphis around our free series. Again, the focus of our benefit concert, Shell Yeah, is to power our free series. So if it doesn't work that we can't do, if we can only do 3 or we can only do 2, the free series is the focus. And that we want to make sure that these benefit concerts just support what we need to do for our free concerts.
Talk about, I don't know, I'll go to Yolanda. I mentioned that Pat Mitchell-Worley was on, and she was talking about their partnership, among other things, partnership with the new Live Nation venue that's going up across the street from Crosstown. When Olivia Wall from Live at the Garden was on, we talked about their lineup and outdoor music. Mempho Fest is coming up. River Beat. They had at least 1, if not 2, sold out days at the most recent event they had. Where, does Memphis, sometimes the critics of Memphis are like, oh, Memphis can't support these places, but these places are doing well. I mean, even if post-COVID, and we talked some about the changes and some of the challenges, I think it's an obvious question, but where and why does the Shell stand out among all this other competition for people's time, if not their money?
I think just the history behind the Shell is the reason why we stand out the most, and how we create a space where everyone feels welcome, where everyone feels like their opinion matters when it comes to our programming. There are a lot of times when I go out in communities and they'll ask, so what about this artist, or what about this artist? And sometimes we're able to, reach out to the artist, but a lot of them just don't even know what it takes to book an artist or what it takes to have a venue like the Shell. So being transparent about our processes and the things that we do. What we need is a space in Memphis. I think people also see that everyone who works at the Shell and goes to the Shell also lives in Memphis, and we're local, so we know exactly what the community needs, and we're able to listen because we're here all the time. And we're here with the programming, we're here in the community, so we're local based, so it allows us to kind of support exactly what they need in a way that a lot of other venues probably aren't able to do.
There is a kind of, you go to the Shell and you see a bunch of people you know. I mean, that's just kind of part of the draw. It's kind of, I don't know if I want to, this music seems interesting or whatever, but also I'm going to run into a bunch of people. It's a social gathering in some ways, in the best way, right? I'm going to say this poorly, but people, I think, sometimes think, well, because of so many free shows, everyone working in the production staff is a volunteer, and this just kind of comes together like just through magic and sweat and tears. But actually, it's a very professional staff. It's paid staff. The only thing that is free is the show, right?
We take care of everyone. Yeah, we pay great rates to our artists and our production team at the highest level we should. And the biggest thing, we used to call it years ago the free music concert series. And we changed that in 2019 because there was a misconception to the free concert series. But that the mission is, we always have an ability for people to get involved in different ways that showcases we are a nonprofit, we are community supported, we need their support, but also realizing that not everybody has the resources to support us. So we come with other ideas for people to get involved, volunteerism, or they say I can support it in a smaller way. We have a membership program, so we do things that makes even giving to the Shell accessible.
Yeah.
That it's everyone's space. It is not guaranteed. It's a gift, and that we want it to be accessible through things like Shell on Wheels, where we can go and take our mission to people who can't get to us. My favorite story of Shell on Wheels was the very first gig we did. When we opened it, we went to Mary Elizabeth Malone Park in Smoky City. We drove it in, and we hit a tree limb.
Nice.
To get it in.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Yes, this little pocket
damage.
park. We opened it up and turned it on, and all these members came to their porches looking and like, what is that? Coming close to us to see what is this space. They're not even a mile away off of Jackson Avenue. And never heard of the Overton Park Shell, never seen us, never been there, didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And this is an intentional equity of meeting people where they are, what they need, and provide our mission and the space in the way they would like to see it. You know, it's different for me. It might differ Yolanda, but we want to be wherever everybody's included.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the revenue and I'm kind of interested. Just it's not a math test, but the sources of revenue for the Shell are in kind of order of biggest to smallest.
You want to know something interesting? 48% is contributed support, and the rest is earned revenue. We have a completely, almost equally diversified business model. From the contributed support side, it's grants, individual donors, members, and sponsors, and then on the earned revenue side, it is rental of the Shell. Shell on Wheels, our food and beverage, and our Shell Yeah benefit concerts. So it truly is balanced.
That's pretty great for a nonprofit
blessing.
that has such a big, where the fundamental mission is free, right? I mean, I think a lot of nonprofits are much more contributed, very much less earned revenue. I mean, that was always a challenge when I was on the board at Overton Park, and I don't know the financials now, but when your mission is to have a free and open park that's available, clean, and safe for everyone, you don't have a lot of revenue options for earned revenue.
We have to build it and find it and change it and be creative. And I sometimes feel like you have to hustle for the dollars to ensure to keep it free. And I mean, I will never want it to change. I don't want another corporate brand on its name. Yeah. And I want to ensure that it is absolutely rooted in this community, free of charge, and everyone will have it another 90 years.
Yeah. It was the Levitt Shell, right? I was thinking of back in my head, I was like, what was the corporate name? It was the Levitt Shell.
It was the Levitt Shell, wonderful foundational partner. But
they were instrumental in getting it back to life, right?
They saved it, catalytically saved it for us to be where we are today. Yeah.
Wait, for you, Yolanda, I mean, the feedback you get from people, you're raising money, asking them to become members, to donate. I don't know, what kind of feedback do you get? Because some people are funny about that stuff. They're like, well, this is supposed to be free, and now you're asking me for money, and so on.
I think a lot of people who come to the Shell, they already know our mission and know the work that we do. So when they see the buckets going around the lawn and people, volunteers, people on our board, and they're usually the same volunteers, so you recognize the people who are going around with the buckets and asking. They don't mind giving. It's not something that I find is hard for us to do, especially at events that we do like 5 Fridays of Jazz. Every year we are able to raise more money than we did the year before because people see kind of where their money is going. They see that it's going to free programming at the library. It's going to free programming at the Shell. They'll see the stage, at different events around the city. They saw that Huey's 55th anniversary block party, so they kind of see where their money is going. So it kind of makes them more open to donate because they see the value in it.
I'm actually going Friday as part of HBG Design, the architecture interior design firm has is it a party deck?
Yes,
is
hospitality deck.
Hospitality deck. Okay, I'm calling it a party deck like it's a wild
party
party.
It is.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that program.
Yeah.
Because it's been a minute since I've been to one of those decks, and it's always fun. And when you're not able to get up there, you kind of look at it and you feel sad because you're not invited.
Exactly. Those are a driver on our mission in a big way. Having an ability for corporate organizations to mix and mingle, to support their clients and their team, and then support a nonprofit they love. At the same time, it's a win-win. We couldn't do without our sponsors. The free shows wouldn't happen without our sponsorship program. So we never want to have a program, which we absolutely love what Live at the Bargain does with the tables in the front. But the Shell's mission is that everyone can be at the front. Yeah. Everyone has accessibility to the best spot in the house. Yeah. And we want to make sure that our hospitality and our sponsorship is in the back. Even though it's a beautiful view, it's not in the front.
I hadn't thought about that symbolically.
And it's around symbolic around that we build community in a diverse audience. That means that everyone's place is equal and has a place, and everyone's important. And I've always said we will never ensure that sponsors and VIP, we don't use that word, is in the front. We don't even use the word VIP at the Shell. Yeah. Because to us, everyone is very special and is that important to us. Not just because of the amount of money they can give.
Just with a couple minutes left here, I remember I asked you, but I'll try to remember, but I won't. But I always try to ask people. I'm looking at Yolanda now. The first concert they went to, as a kid or as a teenager. What was the first concert you remember?
What was the first concert? I'm from Mississippi, actually, from Starkville. So Mississippi State, I always did a really big concert. Like for the students or whatever, my mom taught there. So she would take me and my younger sister there. We were probably way too young to be at this concert with all these college kids, but we begged her to go to this concert. I can't even remember the artist that it was, but I remember the music that they played there. And it really got me started on, like, right after that, I wanted to join band. Okay. So it really got me interested in music as a whole. And my mama was stressed out that concert. She was like, I went all the way to the front and I couldn't find you. But ever since then, I've loved concerts. I love live music. I've loved everything about the performing arts experience, and I just kind of immersed myself in it from a young age.
Yeah. How old were you when you broke free of your mom and you rushed the stage?
I was probably in the sixth grade. My little sister is 4 years younger than me, so she she had no business being there, dog. But I remember that. Mom was like, I remember too, it really stressed me out. But it really made a difference in what I think about music and how I enjoy it now.
Yeah. And your first was, I can't remember. It's been a while.
Oh my goodness. There's so many.
Yeah, I know. Which one comes to mind?
I'm trying to remember. I have to think about that. First concert, I think it was U2.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Where was that?
That was at Mud Island Amphitheater, and it was in the 80s. I have to look back. It was, you think about Mud Island, it's one of those historical places that you remember your earliest memories, like the Shell,
I think I only went to one show, maybe one. It was a great show. I mean, the bathrooms were barely working. But it was a magical place once the show starts, right? I mean, just to be down, it was 190 degrees in Memphis, but down at the amphitheater, it was totally pleasant. It's a breeze off the river. It was amazing. Amazing. People can learn more overtonparkshell.org for lineups and shows coming up and about renting and the Shell on Wheels or the hospitality decks, not party decks, don't get crazy. But that is all the time we have today with Natalie Wilson and Yolanda Kelly from the Shell and Shell on Wheels. I'm Eric Barnes. This is The Sidebar. If you missed any of the show today, you can get the full episode at the Daily Memphian, WYXR, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.